Okay, so today we're going to talk about Apple. How does Apple change the world? How does Apple change the technology industry? And the most important, how Apple change our lives. Our principal objective is to encourage you to try to be the next Mark Zuckerberg, to try to be the next Tim Cook, or to try to be the next Apple, the next Google, the next Samsung, the next Amazon company. So I think that's the most important part of this presentation. Apple products speak for themselves. That's how Apple has consistently positioned themselves in the market, keeping marketing, messaging, and visuals simple. One thing that Apple has is they maintain their products simple but super premium. That's his uh, most characteristic signature, I think. The real reason that makes Apple special above all companies is the innovation and groundbreaking ideas of the products have had since the beginning of the company. As I said, Apple is surreal, and year, they have been innovating, and they have been changing the market. Why the people love Apple products? Uh, One factor that really separates Apple from the rest of the pack is how Apple products work together. The famous Apple ambience, yeah. The iPhone and the MacBook are more than just a phone and a computer. They are extensions of one another. It's like a big body. The MacBook is the left arm. The iPhone is the right arm. So that's kind of cool. How did Apple company start? Apple Computers was founded on April 1 in 1976 by college dropout Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, who brought the new company a vision of changing the way of people build computers. As I said, Apple has been innovating since 1976. Okay, so Jobs and Wozniak wanted to make computers small enough for people to have them in their home or office.
So, when we talk about Apple and innovation, we have to really ask ourselves, did Apple really change the world? And our answer to that is yes. Let me explain. The Macintosh was launched as a personal computer in 1984. It had a revolutionary mouse and graphic user interface. This meant that everyone, even little kids, were able to start learning how to use computers and navigate the internet. Macintosh made computing accessible to everyone, and this changed everything, changed the whole way future generations would think and interact with computers. Another of Apple's most famous products is the iPhone. The iPhone changed everything in its moment. It had an elegant design, and it was really ahead of its time. Many of the mobile phones of that moment had really chunky keyboards, and they were not so easy to work with. Uh, so the main innovation of the iPhone is that it had an interactive screen that replaced the whole keyboard and altered the whole mobile the whole mobile industry up to the date. Even manufacturers today keep using many of the innovations made by the iPhone on that time. The first iPhone also laid the foundation for every modern smartphone. It meant that you could bring a personal computer and really functioning apps all in the size of your pocket. Um, all of the innovations found in the first iPhone are just a norm of design nowadays, and that's why more than 5 billion people nowadays use mobile phones. What makes every Apple product different and unique is that they all include a really simple design, but they pack a lot of creativity. Uh, for example, when you first arrive to an Apple shop, you really start to feel that the fanciness of the place, but also the elegant and the minimalism of the place. And this also applies to the box, and the unboxing of the product is really it's a really exciting experience, and also the product is really well designed. This is something that has this revolution on the UI is something that it's been present since the first iPhone. Also, one thing that makes iPhones really stand out from many other phones is their hardware. They really have good specs, and all of their apps work seamlessly together. Everything thanks to the cloud architecture. In this slide, here's as you can see, there's a timeline of all of the iPhones that have been created, ranging from the first iPhone up until the latest one, uh, which is the iPhone 30 Pro Max that was announced this same year. And the reason why we put this timeline is because we want to explain all the innovations that went in every of these iPhones. So, well, as we said in the first iPhone, there was really a hardware innovation. It was really incredible for its time. But then in the iPhone 3G, some things were added, like the voice commands. It was a precursor of Siri and many other new apps that allowed the phone to have a lot more functionality. On the iPhone 4, there was a total renovation of the UI and the home screen, the one which the users interact to enter their apps. They added things like folders, and also in the next iPhones, the iPhone 4 and 5, there was a big emphasis on games, on video games, and this opened a whole new world for enterprises to create games and make a lot more of money and start new businesses. Then up until the iPhone 6, there was a big implementation on the cloud. iPhone and Apple really did a good job, including things like health, family, backups, and a lot of services that worked along with the cloud. Next, the iPhone 7, there was a big improvement in the user interface, and also a big emphasis put in the messaging apps and the home app, the home app. On the iPhone 10, we started to see innovations in things like artificial intelligence, where the phone could detect the face and the facial expressions of the user, and really and to apply filters and many other interesting things that they were only possible by the use of artificial intelligence. Then on the iPhone 11 Pro, we started to see more implementations of Siri, and also a bigger integration with the cloud synchronization to just save all your photos and have every piece of information from your phone backed up to the cloud. And now in the iPhone 12 Pro, we had a lot of more of changes in the UI. And well, mainly the thing that the last iPhones are being criticized for is because of their lack of big innovations, and that's the case of the iPhone 12 Pro and maybe the 13 Pro, because they haven't made many big advancements as the first models of the iPhone. Our final thoughts in this topic is that innovation is the key to everything, be it in work, in school, or in life. Being innovative and really thinking in new ways and seeing things from a whole new perspective really allow us to have brilliant ideas that may impact our whole life. Especially on the tech industry, innovation is really a key concept. We can see it nowadays in things like hotel companies and maybe transporting companies. We can watch the examples of two startups, for example, Uber and Airbnb. These two startups started with a really original idea, and they executed so well that they have changed the whole industry and the way it works. And that's why we encourage you to really implement new ideas and really think in different ways so that you can bring your company and your ideas even further.